Alright, so I have a general outline here.
Okay.
Looks good. Yeah, that looks great.
Right.
So you're going to be looking right into the camera. Maybe you can help us paint the picture of what Friday nights looked like for you. What kind of things were you up to on a Friday night when you were a teenager?
I always had to be surrounded by people.
You know, just revolved around parties. Finding the next party.
Like getting into fights with people and
Alcohol, marijuana, pills, mushrooms, cigarettes, chewing tobacco.
And that would last until 2, 3 in the morning.
And then it finally ended up blacking out, and that was my Friday nights.
It's well understood. Friday night is the night to party. And that's not true with adults alone. This is true in our teenagers' lives. The teens in our country, their whole purpose on Friday night is let's have fun. But that leads them into the party scene. Ultimately, that leads to a life of great loss. And every Christian teen has them, friends who are lost and broken, who need restoring and salvation. But what are you doing with your teens to help them reach their lost friends? Your teens' friends who are lost, they're hungry for exhilarating fun. They're hungry to have a purposeful life. And we believe they will find that if we'll just give them what they need. A program on Friday night that is a substitute to the world's idea of fun. And we're calling it Full Throttle.
RU Full Throttle's been running for, I think, about 2.5 years.
It's kind of surprised us and sprung up on us, the success that Full Throttle had.
We've seen over 175 public school kids saved in that time period.
We didn't really understand at the time what we were doing.
No adults have ever brought a teenager to RU Full Throttle.
So it's grown well beyond the ability that I've had to even keep up with it, or anybody here has to keep up with it.
I was moved to tears as I saw not only church teenagers, but I saw teenagers from the community, every walk of life you could imagine.
You've got your kind of church kids, your deacons' kids, your kids that grow up in the church, and they're over here. And then over here are your bus kids, and over here are the kids from the rougher homes, and over here are, you know, programs that are for these kids that didn't grow up where these kids grew up. And you create this Christian school class of kids and this kind of bus kid class of teenagers. And we really just wanted to throw out that whole way of thinking.
How do we deal with a group of teenagers where there's such a dynamic contrast? You know, you've got teens that have been in church and they're growing and they're excited about things of the Lord versus teens that are coming in from other areas, public schools, know nothing about church.
Is there a way that we can structure a program with structure that can bring these two groups together? And that can let these kids that have grown up in church say, okay, how do we take this, everything that I know about the Bible, everything that I know about Scripture, everything I've been taught since I was in Sunday school all the way up, how do I take this and use it to reach a world that's lost and looking for Christ and looking for meaning and purpose?
I was praying one day and we had already discussed the possibility of starting something, but we didn't know what. And in the middle of all that, during prayer, God just gave me an idea about this concept of no loyalty.
I remember when Andrew, who's the Full Throttle director here, actually him and his wife were at our house one night, and we were having dinner, just hanging out, and got a call from Pastor York, and he says, "I've got this idea." He's like, "I got to tell you about it."
He had this idea for the 4 teams, and he really wanted this program structure where there would be 4 different teams. Each one of them would have a team leader, and there would be a competition. And every week would be a competition. And every single week, teenagers pick the team they want to be on. This is probably the most controversial part of Full Throttle, the part of Full Throttle that caused a lot of problems in our church, and the part of it that actually makes it at the success that it really is.
My first question was because when the teenagers show up on Friday night, at that time they choose a a circle or a group to join for that 1 week. And some of the teams were uneven. You know, one team had a lot and one of the team had a few. And I saw that as a problem because with my mentality, I'm like, no, we need to make everything even for everybody.
So there was some hurdles to overcome with it, because what we do not do is take the number of teams that are there and just divide them equally between the 4 teams. We let them choose every single week what team they want to be on. There's no established team loyalty. They can move around to different teams if they want to. People didn't think it was fair. You know, all of a sudden, you know, we have a team over here that has 20 people on it and this team has 2 people on it, and it's like, well, that's not fair. And a couple of things we were trying to accomplish here. Number one was we wanted a competitive spirit in Full Throttle. We wanted there to be a sense of competition and also a sense that we weren't going to do the work for you.
But I didn't understand one of the key elements to the Full Throttle was getting the church teenagers plugged in to ministering effectively to people of their peers.
It was kind of, well, out of the blue, of course. Out of the box, definitely.
It was like the next week that we said, okay, we're just gonna do it and see if this works. So we went from probably 20, 15 to 20 attending, probably actually more like 10 to 15 attending, to we had this like, that launch day was almost 50, and it was like, whoa, what is going on? These teenagers are motivated to do the works themselves. They have to fill their team. They have to put people on their team every single week, because I'm not doing it. I'm not putting people on your team. You got to put people on your team in your square every week, or else you don't have people on your team. And so it motivated them to say, oh man, this is serious. If I want to actually have a chance to compete, I got to go out and fill my team. So really, that was a difficult thing to overcome. And I know Pastor York really had to help, especially some parents through that, because there were parents who were very hurt by, they felt like their kids were not, were hurt by this idea that, it's not fair that I can't possibly compete at these games because I've got, just a few people on my team and they've got all these people. And it's because, that there's just a dynamic there of, hey, it's time for you to step up and work to bring people on your team. In the overcoming of that, that's been the greatest strength that Full Throttle has. What it also did is it created a spirit of whenever a teenager came in, whenever somebody new came in the room, or somebody came into church that was new, our teens were like, whoa, I gotta get the person on my team. And so it created a spirit to where a new person walks in the door, instead of everybody just going like, it's a new guy. Everybody's like, wah, come to my team, trying to get them, because everybody wants to fill their team so that they have a greater chance of winning. The other thing it does for our leaders is it really puts them in a position to where they have to learn to work with people and learn to build loyalty themselves. These people aren't going to be assigned to their team, so they have to come out of themselves in ways that will create some loyalty there. So we have teenagers that bring in snacks, that do things to thank their team for their time. So it created a spirit for them that they have to do things in order to help their team be healthy and survive. They have to actually care about the people that are underneath them, because otherwise that person's just going to wander off onto somebody else's team. We've had teams where there is 25 people on a team, but they get beat by the team with 3 people on it. Because the team with 3 people, they can't win a game, but they can sit down for a couple of hours at a coffee shop in the afternoon and do a bunch of challenges. They go through the RU book, do the challenges, and they get points for their team that way. Yeah, maybe you don't have somebody that's athletic. You need to work on recruiting someone that's athletic. But in the meantime, get your kid that, isn't athletic at all, but they can memorize, the periodic table, and they're just, a whiz at different things like that at school mentally. Get that kid memorizing scripture, get them doing challenges, get them being a part of that, and they're gonna build a lot of points for your team. That's really a part of their job, is to learn to recognize what's going on and care about those people that are under them. They're almost, pastoring a small church, really, in a way, and with those kids. So every team also has an adult leader, and that adult leader is kind of in charge of monitoring the health of the team. The Full Throttle director kind of works with the adult leaders and the teen leaders underneath them to make sure that these teams are healthy. Of our first generation of leaders that we did have, 2 of them went to Bible college. We also have other young people that did go to Bible college from Full Throttle. And then a lot of teens that have become integrated with our church and become part of our church and really had no spiritual connection to anything ever before, but they came here, they got saved, they began coming on Fridays to Full Throttle, and then the other thing that we wanted Full Throttle to be was that introductory point to then bring new kids and teenagers into our youth group. And so we try and promote youth group activities and things that are going on in the youth group in Full Throttle so that these kids can begin to step through the process of becoming integrated and involved in the church.
Since we've started RU Full Throttle, one of the things that has been a residual effect is our youth group has just skyrocketed. And the intensity of the teenagers and the obvious transformation that we've been seeing in their lives has literally spread all over the place. The teens are they're lost, and no one is reaching them effectively. And honestly, I have never seen anything that works to this level to reach the raw public school hurting teen and also grows your church teens into powerful leadership within the church. They are prepped for the ministry and have so many more powerful ministry skills and leadership skills because of their experience as a teenager going through RU Full Throttle.
So our leadership generally comes from our kids that have been a part of church and really know the program and are willing to obey and submit and follow rules and the structure that we give. But our mission for them isn't that they would go off into the corner and keep themselves from being corrupted. Our mission for them is, hey, take everything that you've been given all your life and use it to reach someone who doesn't know, and use it to disciple them, use it to get them saved, use it to get them into the RU curriculum to where they're going to be reading their Bible and growing. Teach them the things that you know. And all that's incentivized through points and everything like that. We almost do it in a way that they don't even realize what's going on. It's not like it's like, oh, I got to go disciple somebody. It's like, hey, we got to work through some challenges so we can get some points for our team. You want to come do that? Yeah, sure, okay, And so it's designed to promote that kind of positive interaction between those two groups to where we can see these teens, because most of the time, these teenagers never, other than maybe they'll be involved in a bus route or like a soul winning program, but they're not doing anything to really reach into somebody else's life and disciple and mentor them and love on them, and so that mixture of those two elements really has been an amazing thing that has made Full Throttle, I think, one of the things that kind of surprised us, but really let us know that we were on the right track, was seeing the kids that have grown up in church, put their arms around the kids that have never stepped foot into church before, and tell them they love them, and tell them they're praying for them. Bring them into church. Make them part of the youth group, make them part of the activities, bring them along to where they began to grow. And that's one of the things that kind of let us know that, man, this is working. This is what we were looking for. It's not just a fun night out for them. It's something that has the potential to change their lives.
Full Throttle, what it has done is given a complete opportunity for a person that's not even connected to a church to come in and to get Matthew 28, 19, and 20 from their own peers. Kids their age are going to teach them how to get saved, how to know they're saved, baptism, and learning to think biblically and act biblically. And then some of those kids now have said, I want to be in leadership. And that's where RU has come in with some videos and with some materials to now mentor anybody who says, I want to be in leadership. I cannot be more excited about that. And so we are just delighted to see what God's going to do with Full Throttle.